Hello everyone, I am Shukla, Assistant Professor in BCA Department, IIMT College of Management, Greater Noida. Today's topic is AWT. Here are some key points which I will explain. AWT overview, hierarchy, components, containers, layout managers, event handling in Java, AWT programming steps. Let's start with AWT overview. What is the full form of AWT? Abstract Window Toolkit. It is an API to develop graphic user interface or window-based application in Java. Java components are platform dependent. It means components are displayed according to the overview of operating system. AWT is heavyweight. That means its components are using resource of underlying operating system. The java.awt package provide classes for AWT API, such as text field, label, text area, radio button, checkbox, choice, list, etc. Next is AWT hierarchy. In this, every element belongs from class or every element belongs to class. We have some components like button, label, checkbox, choice, list, and we have also some containers like window, frame, and panel. Let's start with components. All the elements like button, text field, label, etc. are called components. In Java AWT, there are classes for each component. Few of them are explained as follow. First is button. A button is basically a controlled component that generates an event when clicked. This class represents a push button which displays some specified text. When a button is pressed, it notifies its listener. To be a listener for the button, an object must implement the action listener interface. These are constructor for button class. First one is button. It construct a new button with an empty string. Means it has no label on button. Next is button with string text. It construct a new button with a given string as its label. In this line, we create a button object. Okay, so this button is class and OK button is object of button class. We use new keyword. New keyword is a Java keyword. It create it creates a Java object and allocate memory for it. Next is AWT label. It display a single line of text. Labels are read only. That is, the user cannot click on a label to edit the text it displays. Text can be aligned within the label. These are constructor for label. First is label. It construct an empty label. Next one, it construct a label with a given string. Third one is it construct a label with specified string and the specified alignment. Okay, so here we create one object for label class. A label is object of label class. Okay, next is list. List is displays a list of string. The list is scrollable if necessary. Sometime called list box in other language. List can be a setup to allow single or multiple selection. The list will return an array indicating which string are selected. These are list constructor, and here we create one object for list class. List is a list class. A list is a object of list class. And through add method, we add some element in the list. Next is choice. Okay, so The class represent a drop-down list of string, similar to the list in terms of functionality, but displayed differently. Only one item from the list can be selected at one time, and the currently selected elements is displayed. Here we create one object for choice class, and through add method we add some element in the list choice. Okay, then next is AWT container. Container is a subclass of component. It works as a container for other AWT elements. Container is responsible for laying out component that it contains. The container is a component in AWT that can contain other component like button, text field, label, etc. The class that extend container class are also known as container, such as frame, dialog, and panel, etc. Next is AWT container. So first one is window. Window class is derived from container class. It creates top level window that is not contained within other object. Window is the container that has no border and menu bar. It is a rectangle area which is displayed on the screen. A window that you want to create for your application is not directly created using window class. Okay, and next one is panel. Panel is the smallest container. It provides space in which any other component can be placed, including other panel. The default layout manager of panel is flow layout. Here we are creating one object for panel. Panel is class and P1 is object. And through add method, we add a new element. Next is frame. A window that you want to create for your application is not directly creating using window class, but it is creating using a subclass of window class known as frame. A frame provides the main window for the GUI application, which has title bar and which containing icon, minimizing, maximizing, and close button, and also optional menu bar, and the content display area. When a frame object is created, by default it is invisible. Then you must set of the frame using set size. You must call set visible method. You must call set visible method to make the frame appear on the screen. Here is one diagram for frame in which you can see the icon, title, window buttons. Here is one menu bar, that is optional menu bar, and content pane. Okay, now AWT. AWT frame class constructor. First one is frame. It creates a frame window that does not have title. Next one is frame with string title. It will create a frame window with the title specified by title parameter. Frame class methods. First method is set size. It is used to specify the size of frame window. Okay, so for that first we need to create an object of frame, and then through object we call the method f. F is an object for frame, and then f dot set size, we can set the size of window. Next one is title. It is set title. It is used to set title in the title bar of the frame window. Next is get title. It is used to get title in the title bar of the frame window. Next one is visible, set visible. Okay, it is used to specify whether the frame window will be visible or hidden, and it accepts boolean value for as a argument. Okay, next one is the fifth one, set background. It is used to set background color of the window. Again, we have to create a object for frame, and through that object we can set the background color. Okay, so next is AWT frame. Okay, so there are two ways to create a frame. So how can we create a frame? So there are two ways to create a frame. First one is by instanting frame class. It means creating an object of frame class. Okay, and the next one is by extending frame class. We will do it through inheritance. Okay, so here is one diagram for that. Let's start with first thing, creating an object of frame. Okay, so in first line here, we import java.awt package. In the next line, public class frame demo. We create a class whose name is frame demo, and inside that we create a frame reference. Okay, and then public frame demo. Public frame demo is constructor for this class, and inside that constructor we create a object. We create a object for frame class. Okay, and then through that object we set the size of frame, we set the layout, and we set the visibility of frame. And next line, we define the main function, and then we create an object of main class, and after that we execute and see the output. Next is by extending the frame class. Okay, so in this first step is same as for above. Import the Java AWT package. We create a class whose name is frame demo, which extend frame class. Okay, and then we create one constructor, and inside that constructor we directly set the size of frame, visibility, and layout. Okay, so what is the difference between the above program and this program? In this program, we are not creating any object of frame. Okay, we directly set the frame things. And in next step, we define the main function, and we create an object for main class. We create an object for class. Okay. So next is layout manager. So what is the layout manager? A layout manager in Java is a class that organized element inside the container. We have some classical layout managers. First one is border layout. Second one is layout flow layout. Third one is box layout, and next is grid layout, and then card layout, and we have many more. Okay, so for adding layout manager we use set layout method. Okay, so let's start with border layout. Border layout divides the container into 5 zones. Okay, if a zone is not used, other zone expand to use the space, and center get the most space. Here is a example diagram for that border layout. Okay, this center, north, west, south, and east. Okay, and here we create next box, we create a object of button. So button is a class, and button one is a object of button class. And through add method, we add the button in the frame, and we mention that border layout dot east. Next is flow layout. Flows the components into the available space. It preserves the original size of each component. Next, components are added left to right. Okay, in this components are added left to right in order. Again, first we create set the layout, then we create a button, and after that we are using add method to add the button in the container. Next is card layout. So card layout, what is in what we are, why we are using card layout and everything. So let's see. If you have a different set of components to display it at different time. So at that time we are using card layout. One card is displayed at one time. We are using first, next, and last to change the display card. Okay, and again here we are set the layout for frame, and then we create a button as we are doing in the previous slide, and then we through the add method we are adding the button in the frame. Okay, the next one is grid layout. Grid layout specify a grid size in the container. Components are adding to grid into the order that they are added. Grid layout makes all the component having same size. Okay, so here first we have to set the layout, and as grid layout have a rows and columns, so we have to mention how many rows and column we want. Okay, so we need three rows and two column. So we mentioned 3, 2. Then through add method, we add the buttons in the frame. Next is box layout. Box layout puts a component in a single row or column. It does not resize the component, and it allows a different forms of component alignment. So here again, we set the layout, and in the layout, we mention box layout dot y dash axis. Okay, so y axis is for column and x dash axis for row. Again, we through the add method, we add the button in the layout. Okay, so next point is event handling. In Java, an event is an object which specifies the change of state in the source. It occurs whenever an action takes place. Types of event, broadly we have two types. First is foreground event, and second is background event. What is foreground event? Those events require the direct interaction of the user. For example, clicking on the button, moving the mouse, entering the character through the keyboard, and selecting an item from the list, scrolling the page, etc. Next is background event. So those events that are required the interaction of end users are known as background event. These are some event and their description. And next is event handling steps. First is the user click the button and event generates. And in next, now the object of the concerned event class is created automatically, and information about the source and the event get to populate within the same object. The third step, event object forward to the method of registered listener class. And the last one is the method is now executed and returned. Okay, and the next is AWT programming step. In this program, we are adding two number and we get the result. Okay, so before starting the program, I think we need to see the layout of that program. So it will help to understand the program. Okay, so this is the layout of the program. Here we have one frame, and inside that frame we have one panel. Okay, and in the panel we have three labels. First one is this, second one is this, and third one is this. In first one we have C, enter the number 1, in second enter the number 2, and in third level we have result S. And then we have three text field. This one is T1, T2, and T3. Also we have two buttons, one is add button and one is clear button. Okay, so let's start the program. In first step, we have import java.awt.star. We are import this for used for designing like text, label, button classes, etc. And the next one is import awt.event.star, used for interface listener. We are using listener in this now, so that is why. So next step, writing class which will extend frame as container implement interface. We are using one listener in this case, but multiple interface can be used. Okay, so here public class. What is our class name? Addition. Addition is our class which extend frame and implements action listener. Okay, so next step, the third step, here we are declaring the reference for the controls. Okay, so as I already told you, label, we use three labels. For labels we have L1, L2, L3. For button we have two buttons, B1 and B2. And for text field we have three text field. For that we have T1, T2, and T3. And we have one panel also, so P1 is for panel. Okay, so in next step we are creating a constructor and create an object of all the controllers whose reference have been created above. Okay, so public addition, this public addition is a constructor, and inside that constructor we can create an object for control. So for L1, L2, L3, B1, B2, and as follow, we create a object for this controls. Okay, in next step, we set the layout for containers like frame and panel. As I already told you in the starting, we have one panel and inside that, sorry, we have one frame and inside that we have one panel. So we have to set the layout for both. So in fifth step, we set the layout. There are different types of layout, but we are using border layout for frame and grid layout for panel. Okay, so here set layout, new border layout. This we are set for frame, and P1 dot set layout, new grid layout 4,2 means we set the layout in this line. We set the layout for panel, and we are just mentioning the number of rows and column here. You can also see that as grid layout needs number of rows and column, and we need 4 rows and 2 column as per our requirement. Okay, so in next step, sixth step, adding control on panel. We already create a control, so we can add that control in the panel. As grid layout, add row wise order. Okay, so first row, first column, first row, second column, and so on we will add. So through add method, we are adding the controls. So P1 dot add L1. First we will add L1, then T1. After that L2, T2, L3, T3, B1 and B2. B1 and B1 is add and B2 is clear. Okay. Again, add P1 center. Now this panel needs to add on the frame, and to call frames method, there is no need to have any object of frame class. And since frame has using border layout, and we are going to use center place for border layout, so we just mentioned center. Next step, seventh step, what we are doing in that, controls controls which are being used to perform tasks need to register with their method or listener. In our case, we are using a button control and its listener is action listener, which is having method action performed. So we have two buttons. So B1 dot add action listener this and B2 dot add action listener this. What is this? This as a parameter is being used because action perform would be defined in same class. If it would be defined in different class, then we would pass that class object. Okay. Next step is eighth step. So what we are doing here, set the certain setting of frame. Okay. So for frame, we are using set title method and add the set title, set size, set the size of frame and set visible true for visibility of frame. Okay, in ninth step. Okay, so in ninth step, as we are reach at action perform method, which is implementing our program's logic. Okay, so here public void action perform action event and AE. So what's that? Action perform method is getting action event class object as a parameter which could provide the button information. Okay. This can provide the button. This one is provide the button information. Okay. Next line, using get action command. Using the get action method, get action command method, we could get caption of added button. In next line, as we receive caption would be of string type. That is why we are storing that in string class type object, that is S. Okay, this one S. Next, now we are comparing the value of S with add string, and if it matches, if it is matched, then we are adding the number. We are okay, and we are adding the number. The next step, we are getting first two text field value using get text method. Okay, so using get text method, we are using we are getting the first two method. Okay, which gives value as string type, and we need to add value. That is why we are converting them into integer. Okay, here. Okay, through this line we can converting them into an integer. Then we are adding the both values, assigning them in the third text box field. Here. Okay, then next step is, as we know that set text, this one set text method takes a value as a string. That is why we are converting the output with blank string to convert that as a string value. Okay, here. Next, if we get clear string, then this clear logic will get executed, and in this we are making all the text values blank. Okay, and then in the last step, here 10th step, we defining the main function and call addition class by its constructor. Okay, so here public static void main string args arguments, we creating a main function and we call addition class by its constructor. and then we can execute and compile and execute, and we will get this as a output. Okay, so this program is done. Thank you very much.